Second prop, Tavares versus Bryzek. So Brad Tavares versus Robert Bryzek to end by KO at plus 150. Third one is Gomes by decision. This one speaks for itself. Gomes is a decisionator. I think it was only finished in the UFC was like a nut kick. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of Prop of the Week, or Props of the Week. And in this edition of Prop of the Week, we'll be doing UFC Fight Night, Ulberg versus Reyes. Once again, you got me, King of Crackdown, and you got Pro Smoke Bets, giving you our props of the week. So without further ado, let's just hop right into it. So first prop of the week, we got Sterling by KO at plus 110. He's going in with Bellato, who doesn't have the best chin, and was struggling with Paul Craig until he faked like he got knocked out just to get out of that fight. His chin's not the best. He was getting brutalized by Crute in the first round. It's so a lot hard to survive that, but I think against a sharpshooter like Sterling, I think Sterling, he's going to start to lock in, especially in this spot and where they're at. He's going to show up and get a touch that chin of Bellato early and often and get him out of there. Probably first round, could be second round, but I do think he wins by knockout here. So Sterling by KO plus 110. It's not like the most guaranteed prop. Sterling can be a little bit like not as aggressive, but he does have the striking chops. And when he starts settling in, he's really gonna start to knock guys out like Bellato. So I think KO is a good prop. So with plus money, I like that. Next one is Matthews in the distance at plus 130, going against Neil Magny, the veteran. So you gotta have some concerns when you're going in with a veteran, but both these guys are veteran. But Neil Magny, pushing 40 years old, he's been dominating the grab department multiple times. It's not like I feel like guys he really beats are guys that don't really have the grappling chops, to be honest, or they kind of lack cardio and he could weather them. But Jake Matthews, he's in this mode right now where he's locked. Like Matthews been a veteran, so he has these modes. Like he has modes where he kind of is like a journeyman. He has modes where he look like he can show elevation. Like one moment he was elevating his strike, one moment he elevated grab, one moment he got bigger and put on size. I feel like he's in one of his modes right now, and he's definitely the better offensive grappler than Magny. So I feel like he could take Magny down, dominate him there, and get a submission. So potentially a TKO, like get a positional TKO over him. But I do like Matthews to take him down and stuff. His grappling looked real good in his last fight. And Magny has been exploited multiple times in his grappling department. So I think Matthews can follow suit and get a submission over Neil Magny. But hey, if he wants to get a TKO, it still covers. That's why I didn't this, because if I would have did submission at like plus 300 and he decided to TKO him on the ground, the money would not hit. But in the distance, KO or submission, maybe submission or decision should have been a prop. By the way, submission or KO plus 130 gives you double chances, still at plus money. So Matthews in the distance at plus 130, but I do like the submission more. But either way, whether it's a KO or submission, prop still hits. And next one, Jenkins by KO at plus 240. Seems like a little bit of still. I'm forgetting Jenkins' opponent name right now, and I'm not gonna look it up.
Tavares. Ramon Tavares.
Ramon Tavares, yeah. Yeah, Ramon Tavares, in the last fight, he lost via kicks, and now he's coming up a weight class. And I don't really feel like he's particularly an amazing fighter. He's a solid fighter, but is he really like a UFC level fighter or some really amazing fighter? I really don't think so. And again, in his last fight, he got dissected by kicks. So Jenkins will be the bigger fighter, the more experienced featherweight. And also, again, Ramon Tavares didn't show any great ability to defend kicks. It's not like he has no other plan B. He's really just a boxer. I mean, he's an MMA fighter, but he's really just a boxer as far as really trying to be specific. He's really just a boxer. And just really those power shots. And we load up on power. You're not checking leg kicks, and you're going there with one of the best leg kickers in the game right now who's taking like 3 guys' fibula. So I think Jenkins by KO by really leg kick TKO. We really want to get specific. Chop his legs down and get a TKO here against Ramon Tavares' first fight at featherweight. Coming up a loss where he lost by a lot of kicks and really have no answer for the kicking game of the veteran at 135. And I think Jenkins will be able to KO him here. Heavily influenced by the leg kick game of Jenkins. So Jenkins by KO plus 240. Next one, Ulberg KO minus 145. I don't gotta really say too much about this one. You've got to pick a side. You think Reyes is gonna win? You think Ulberg gonna win? I think Ulberg's gonna win. KO minus 145. I don't think this fight goes a distance. It's not like Ulberg. I don't think Ulberg's going to submit Reyes. I could see a decision, but 5 rounds with guys like this, I don't really see it. I feel like, Reyes, when he has fought like elite strikers, for the most part, he has been stopped. He did get that one win over Dustin Jacoby, but that was really because Dustin Jacoby got sloppy. By the way, it seemed like when he go get elite strikers, it's always a stoppage. So whether he get a stop or they get a stop, most times it's him getting stopped. So Ulberg by KO at minus 145. That's my side. But yeah, it's still a close fight on paper. So I would, but so can't get too confident one. But I do like that value at minus 145. Next one, the final one, and probably the best one, Luana Carolina decision at plus 300. Um, she's going in with Michelle Montague, I think her name is, or at the very least, I know her last name is definitely Montague. Montague, even when I just looked at her even more because somebody was saying locked on my page, like they were like Montague lock. So I was like, am I missing something? Am I tripping? Now I looked at her even more, and I was even more confident in Carolina. So Carolina decision at plus 300. Montague striking looks very non-present, I would say, and her wrestling don't look all that elite. Because I see some of the fights that she's fought, and they're like 3-3 and stuff. I see them get up from her takedowns, maybe defend them pretty well. And Luana Carolina has 84% takedown defense against UFC level fighters, and that's what all fighters are do. So Carolina is the much better striker. Again, Montague has better submission skills, but Carolina really hasn't even been submitted like that. She's lost like some bigger ones in the past, but in the recent 3 years, it really hasn't been her grappling at all. Like she's been defending takedowns well, reverse position. She's been in with some good grapplers, and she's been able to stem them. And also another thing, Montague has only ever finished fights, so she hasn't had much experience going the distance or really having to face adversity too much because they've been quick and done. Now going to a fighter like Carolina, who does have 84% takedown defense, it does show, it's not even just like stats. Like when I look at her defend takedowns, it's pretty technical defensive takedowns. So she's not defend, get herself back to her feet, work against cage, get her unhooked, dig you off, and then go back to being long. And I think that's gonna be a frustrating fight for a fighter like Monica who has, real experience. Or you can say, she trains with Kayla Harrison a little bit. But somebody trained with Khabib on Contender Series, they got knocked out. So this training don't mean nothing. And I watch her particularly who she trained with, but how she fights, and her striking looks very like non-existent. So to have like a one trick, and Carolina's that's what she's been doing well at defending for the past 3 years. I think Carolina's gonna be more than prepared to defend the takedowns and be able to use that length, and I'll point her to a decision here. So Carolina decision plus 300, underdog in a prop plus 300. I like that value a whole lot. So those are the props of the week. How do you feel about it, Pro Smo?
And it's incredible when you have fighters like Malarkey, Bedoya, so many fighters on the slate you could pick from, and they have close to even lines. The only other option you have is to do this, man. These are sharpshooter picks. These are great lines. You found value. Sterling by knockout, where Bedoya has one opportunity to explode in the first round, attempt to take down Sterling, see if you could get a ground and pound that way. And if all fails, good luck, Chuck, man. It's over for you in round 2 or 3. Matthews inside the distance, man. I shouldn't be saying this, but Neil Magny's in our group chats, man. And the guy's been, very busy, but, he's also been a very old man at the same time. I'm sure he wants to retire. The guy was in the Army Reserves, right? He was a military guy. So he's got an extended 6-year contract. So this would be he would have 4 fights left after this with Jake Matthews. So you know what Magny's game is like, man. He's a clincher. We just saw Nchikwani face off, who would pose more of a threat because he's piercing you with those kicks. Jake Matthews got through all of that. So at plus 130 inside the distance, what a statement. Matthews is what, like a pseudo nepo baby, man, for the UFC. He's got so many years in it, man. And I like to see him, finally get higher in the rankings. Well deserved for him. Jenkins chopped down Ramon Tavares, a boxer plotting forward. Good pressure in a 30-foot octagon. I mean, Jenkins is got it all, mapped out. No way he's getting through that chopping block. That guy's a monster. Ulberg by KO. Wow, ticket sales are so low right now overseas. I mean, they need Ulberg. They need a superstar, man. I think people are tired of buying tickets and their parlays going bust. We know Volkanovski's retiring soon, so it's Ulberg or nothing, but absolutely not touching Reyes. Additionally, I mean, he's one-dimensional. Ulberg well-rounded. Ulberg works the perimeter if he wants deep into the rounds. And yeah, man, that's all she wrote, man. So yeah, let's get it.
And those have been the props of the week. So once again, Sterling by KO at plus 110. Matthews in the distance at plus 130. Jenkins by KO at plus 240. Ulberg by KO at minus 145. And Carolina by decision at plus 300. That has been our props of the week for UFC Fight Night Ulberg versus Reyes. Me, King Crackdown, and Pro Smoke Bets. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and come back for more videos. Peace.